Another category of risk that you undertake when you build a project through a P3 is the risk that your project is going to get shuffled off to another corporate entity, that the people that you originally make the deal with in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years aren't going to be the people that own the project. And so when you go to them 10 or 15 years from now and say, I don't like the way you did that, the project proponent at that time is going to say, well, that's not us. We didn't build that project. Corporation X, which has long gone, built that project. We're just portfolio investors. We don't have any responsibility for that. So don't come and talk to us about that. And interestingly enough, I had a fascinating experience in conjunction with a project that I was working on for CUPE in Alberta, where I was retained by CUPE in Alberta to do a financial analysis of a project that the government of Alberta had to develop schools through P3s. And it was really wonderfully ironic because I arrived out in Alberta in late January of 2008 to do the formal release of this study that I'd done. And just before I got there, the minister responsible had touted as one of the advantages of P3s is that we were going to establish long-term relationships with these gigantic worldwide corporations that were really good at developing these things and were managing these projects all over the world. And he listed the 3 multinational corporations that had been pre-qualified to bid on this project. And so just before I went out there, I went to the website of each of these 3 things, and there was a really interesting headline right on the front page of one of these multinational corporations, which the government of Alberta was touting it was going to be potentially establishing a long-term working relationship with. Right on the cover page, it said that this company had just made a huge amount of money for its original investors by selling off half a dozen hospitals that had developed in Australia to another company. After 3 years, they'd flipped it in 3 years. So 3 years after this project in Australia had been developed for this 40-year project, the project was gone. It was in the hands of somebody else. Somebody else had picked up that project and the original developer was gone. And that's a huge risk because when you're developing a P3 project, if you're a government, you're placing this project in other hands, right? It's not, you're suddenly saying to the public, we're going to trust ABC Hospital Management and Development Corporation to run your community hospital. And implicitly the government's saying, you should trust this company because they know all about developing hospitals and they're really good at this and they can bring all kinds of value added to the operation of this hospital in their community. But the government that's telling you this has no way of knowing whether tomorrow these people are going to be there, whether tomorrow the corporation that's running this hospital is not going to have sold off its right to run that project to somebody else, and you're going to be dealing with somebody else.